Hello, League fans, and welcome to the 2018 Academy League. I am Julian Petrie-Timekar, back at the caster/analyst desk to join Mark Zimmerman for the final day of regular season play.
And the final time together, hopefully.
Oh, goodness.
We'll see how the playoffs go.
Before we get into today's matches, let's talk about patch 8.5, which hits Academy today and will be in effect for the rest of the postseason. And Mark, been quite a few changes on this one. Not as big as the last one, but still some significant movement.
Yeah, I think Swain in particular stands out. I think a lot of people in solo queue are starting to bump into this monster, and there are a couple of things that made him a lot better on this patch. In particular, the W radius was increased, and it made it so it's actually somewhat consistent to land. So he basically went from having 3 abilities to 4, and hey, that ends up being a pretty big buff when you factor in that it slows people at combos and gets his W to get his passive more often, so he gets more soul fragments. A lot of stuff to make Swain a bigger monster, and his Q got there were a bunch of other buffs too. His Q, his E got some help, his R got some help, and he was already a bit of a terror when he got on top of you, and now he just has some extra tools.
Yeah, it certainly feels strong. Olaf, also kind of the other pick we looked at, is just already getting played, just got a little bit of a boost.
A lot of teams were starting to turn to it. It felt like it worked really well with a lot of these engage comps that we're seeing a lot of, and now that he's even stronger, probably going to rise up the priority list. It might end up somewhere just behind Skarner.
We'll have to see. Another big story this week, though, is the substitution of Adrian on Echo Fox Academy for Papa Chow. Now, Mark, was this a chance to bring an experienced player into Academy to help the team secure playoffs because they are still outside on the bubble, or a response to Echo Fox's slump in the LCS?
I mean, you want to be optimistic about it, about why he's coming down, but you have to think it has to do with, like, if you wanted to make a push for playoffs in Academy using some main team players, there are some other good guys on that roster who you might want to do. You know, bring down maybe Dardoch or something like that. So you have to think that this is more of a response to the main roster struggles, switching things up in Week 9, try and figure out what's their best roster for the main roster's playoffs.
Well, on that note, we'll take a look at how they performed. He performed yesterday, as Echo Fox knocked TSM Academy, Clutch Gaming, and their opponents, 100 Thieves, out of playoff contention with their victory.
And he's playing the Tom Kench, a very common pick for Adrian. He had some good plays on it. It's not a flashy champion necessarily, but it does some important things like, hey, it saved the Olaf there, so he's able to stay alive. And it's not the sexiest play, but it's very, very important. Adrian's always been great on the pick, and he was very influential in this game. See him teleporting his teammates on top, the map play element, making sure they find some extra kills onto Linsanity. And overall, just really great play from him. The team was able to win relatively easily. See up in this top side engage, once again, saving Odd Orange. Him and that Olaf pick that we were talking about being meta. See a lot of synergy between those two, and they're able to win this game.
Yep.
Not too difficult, but very important win to pick up to keep their playoff hopes alive.
Absolutely. Certainly some wins still to come for Echo Fox if they want to go into playoffs. But, like we said, they haven't locked them because CLGA Academy is still in the running after their win over TSM yesterday.
And God, this team, well, you can't stop them.
Apparently not. CLG Main and CLG Academy both just somehow winning.
And there you see the engage. They have so much chain CC follow-up available to them. The Nami wave can come in, and they stomp this game. And one of the only teams still playing Ashe, really. They just value how much engage they can get out of it. Maybe some other teams will look at this pick as well because Varus hasn't been performing quite how they want to, and Ashe fulfills a similar role. So maybe we'll see some more overlap between Academy and LCS.
Maybe. Earlier in the day, Cloud9 Academy and FlyQuest battled over control of first place, though, with Cloud9 coming out on top. So right now, in sole possession of first.
This is the battle everyone's going to be looking out for today. Who actually gets that first, easier matchup against the 4th seed, whoever that ends up being. So this is a scrappy game, very close between the two teams. You see why they're at the top of the table. FlyQuest able to win that skirmish early on. They're in the enemy team's base. They've taken an inhibitor, but then they lose a fight here. A good engage onto Aerie allows them to kill that Varus pick early on. The rest of the teams following up. They're going to be able to find this kill late into the game. They have some minion waves to work with. They're actually going to be able to come back and win this game from behind. Keith having a bit of a pop off in that team fight.
I mean, we've talked about it for enough weeks now. I certainly know the strength of Keith. Let's take a look at how those off-air games affected the standings, though, as we head into the final day of week number 9. Cloud9 currently holds sole possession of first place with FlyQuest and Team Liquid right behind, tied for second. Echo Fox Academy holds 4th and the final playoff spot, but CLG are only 1 win behind. The rest of the teams are eliminated from playoff contention, and their spring split ends today. So let's take a look at what's in store. Game 1, we'll see if CLG Academy can keep the playoff dream alive against OpTic, and then TLA battle against Cloud9 for control of first seed. We'll close out the day with a potential playoff preview between FlyQuest and Echo Fox Academy, but Let's get into our first game, which pits a surging CLG Academy versus OpTic. So while CLG had a rough start to the split, they are on a 5-game win streak, and again, much like their main team, within reach of playoffs.
Yeah, but despite the miraculous rise to contend for playoffs, Destiny's sadly not in CLG's hands. If CLG want a shot at the playoff spot, they first need to beat OpTic, and then hope FlyQuest beats Echo Fox to set up that tiebreaker for 4th. Interestingly, like you're saying, this rise very much matches the main roster. It's identical thus far. When it started the streak, they are obviously 1 game ahead because Academy plays first, and the fact that Destiny is not in their hands.
Well, not in their hands, but step 1 for CLG is to beat OpTic Gaming, who are towards the bottom of the standings, and honestly, they're just here to play spoiler today.
Yeah, I mean, Piecake Lord is back in the lineup this week, and he had a pretty mediocre debut so far, but he was playing against some of the top teams in the Academy, Cloud9 last week and Liquid yesterday. And it's also interesting that OpTic has chosen to run with him and not Dokla in Academy, since Zig played both his LCS matches, but with teams already eliminated from here, OpTic in the main LCS and the Academy team out of playoffs, it's potential that they're just looking for a new top laner going forward and just getting as much information as they can.
Yep, just do what testing they can. With that, we're going to get into it, starting on the CLG Academy. Blue Siders will take a look at these rosters. In the top lane, it is Fallen Bandit. In the jungle, oh my god, mid laner Tuesday, bot Auto, and his support, Phil.
And on the red side this match, it will be OpTic Gaming in the top lane. Piecake Lord,
he's still there.
He's still there. Kadir in the jungle, Palafox in the mid lane, Andy in the bot lane, supported by Winter.
Well, always fun to see, especially as the season so both Academy and LCS are coming to a close with the playoff patch now set on 8.5. Certainly saw some of what happened yesterday, but that was off air, so excited to see as we move into champs like what the teams have in store.
Yeah, there was a lot of changes on 8.5. It wasn't a massive patch, but it felt like a pretty big one to correct for some of the things that were appearing in 8.4. So there were banner changes as well. There were some changes to jungle items, so that Cinder Hulk plus Warmogs right off the bat is not quite as powerful together, as you might not get the healing depending on what level you are. So there was a lot of changes to try and set up playoffs for this patch.
Yep, certainly is. So we'll see what happens here in the draft. Camille and Caitlyn banned away by CLG, and that is Swain. I'm pretty sure OpTic gonna... No, that's Swain. Who is that first?
That's Warwick, I believe.
Oh, goodness.
Omar God busted out of Warwick in week 6, 7, something like that.
Did it last year as well in LCS, so certainly a champion he's known for. Good catch there. Zaya, though, the other ban from CLG. So 2 marksmen taking away some of Andy's options as Autofill try and kind of bolster their bot lane a little here in Champ Select.
Well, we see them playing that Ashe pick like we were saying, so maybe getting rid of some of the less favorable matchups. She has good range, so get rid of the thing that outranges her and Caitlyn. Get rid of the thing that's going to out-trade her and then all in, the Zaya Rakan. Also, if you don't want to take the Zaya, then you don't want OpTic to be able to get that power pick as well. So, pretty surprising. And the Varus first pick, actually.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Kench also another bot lane ban here for OpTic, so Varus first pick feels pretty straightforward here.
Yeah, with so much attention, you want to grab the priority top laner. I think Jhin was buffed on this patch as well.
Yes.
So maybe we see some Jhin come back in. Maybe we get back to that utility 80 carry meta. We'll have to see.
I mean, maybe. Like you said, already seen some Ashe. Varus, I think, is the most popular 80 carry currently, certainly in NA. I believe that is true. There's Olaf, though. If you are trying to get onto an immobile 80 carry without a blink, Olaf's a pretty good way of doing that.
Yeah, Varus tries to shoot his ultimate, root him in place, and Olaf just keeps coming.
Certainly does. That's OpTic with 10 seconds now for this next pick here.
Yeah, it's weird now that Olaf is over Skarner in priority. You see him getting taken away. And a lot of the mid laners don't feel as important. Galio is kind of the roaming one, does work very well with Olaf because he can get a little squishy when he pops that ultimate and just charges in there. Galio gives him the damage, resists to stay in the fight as well as can deliver him. Surprised, I know Ryze got hit a little bit, nerfed, so he's not quite as priority, so it doesn't feel like teams are quite springing for him anymore, especially with Azir, Cassie, all these other things up. Feels like the mid lane priority is dropping.
Yeah, and it seems like Omar kind of happy to take this trade again with Olaf being so popular. That already blocked the Skarner pick. That was kind of the origin of that pick in some ways in this meta. So Omar's just like, all right, I'll stay away from Skarner. I'll go to Zac instead. Yeah,
and interestingly, during CLG's kind of miracle run that we're talking about, they played a lot of carries in the jungle, things more like the Olaf, the Kha'Zix, some stuff like that. So going back to his more established play style of a tank player with the Sejuani and the Zac now, but it was not what they were doing to win a lot of their games.
Certainly not, as Alistar actually the pick to round out the bot lane for CLG, so both solo lanes gonna take a hit probably in phase 2 as Ezreal up for OpTic by the looks of things. Don't want to lose 80 carries with so many already taken off the board.
No, not the case, but this will lead to a mismatch in support, so you might see CLG try and pinch down there. Like you mentioned, OpTic having their Galio taken can look to the mid lane, get rid of some of those bad matchups, maybe the Corki, maybe the Casio, a couple of different things that can bully Galio early on.
I think Casio makes the most sense as far as typical counter picks we have seen, but of course have to see exactly what Tuesday is up to. He's played kind of a weird mix of champions, I'd say, but there is the Casio ban.
Yeah, as we talked about, but he's kind of lived and died by Ori recently. And
yeah.
His combination with Omar God on the Kha'Zix set up a lot of kills because you can see how far Kha'Zix stealths from brushes. You can just end up on top of the enemy mid laner, Ori ball him, ult them back. Same thing with Olaf, can kind of just charge at people, and so there was a lot of good stuff going on there. Now it looks like OpTic is just like, well, we don't want to mess around in mid lane at all.
Absolutely not, as Janna the ban away from support. Not the most aggressive of lanes, Ezreal and Janna, but just kind of taking away some of that denial that could happen for CLG's engage. They've already drafted Vareth, Alistar, and Zac, who all have good tools to start fights.
Yeah, you can definitely see that's less of a laning thing and more of like, this would be really annoying to play into for our other 3 picks.
Alawi banned.
Alawi, all right. I mean, we've seen Fallen Bandit play it sometimes. They've done this kind of strategy where they give him a good matchup in the top lane and then kind of ignore him and leave him on an island and focus more around the bot and mid lane where they have these engage tools that they've been working with. So you already see they have a bunch of them. So Alawi would be a nice pick to kind of just put in the top lane, win a lot of tank matchups against Piecake Lord, and then transition later on into the game.
There's Tarek, the last ban from CLGA Academy. So Thresh is the answer here for Winter. I've certainly seen a rise in Thresh and Bard. I think kind of the 2 playmaking supports that have shown up from time to time, but certainly a ton of options. As looks like your read on Corki might be correct here for CLG.
The Corki is definitely more of a Tuesday pick than the Casio, and the Orianna not the best matchup into Galio early on. Just kind of get pushed in and can't do much, hard to kill him. So the Corki, a better matchup, but like we said, this is starting to diverge pretty far from what we've expected out of CLG in their comeback. But maybe, you know, they kind of got their legs underneath them, and now they're ready to play a couple different styles.
Maybe. I mean, potentially looking at a tank top here with Shogat. That will be the blind pick here for CLG, unless Galio's going somewhere else. Winter flashes Leona, because why not? And Zed, all right, we'll let him have his fun.
Yeah, Winter is, none of those are going to be picked here. We're going to see a top lane.
Oh, he's one of those guys?
He's one of those guys.
Just mess around in champs legs? I don't know how I feel about those guys.
They're fun.
Generally, yeah, they can be.
They can get the crowd to cheer sometimes. Twitch chat's like, yeah, pick Zed here. Send Galio top. No, not going to happen. Yep, it's going to be Shen.
Surprise. Well, I mean, Shen certainly, again, another... if you're talking about tank top lanes, which have been... I wouldn't say the standard necessarily. I think 8.4 and I guess now 8.5 showed a lot of different diversity in top lane, but I think it kind of depends on team and play style. You know, if you want a frontline, if you're used to that, you play that. If you're more of a carry style player, you can still play the likes of GP, etc. So
right, and even the counter picks that come into the top lane now are a little bit more tank focused. Like you're seeing more Trundle and things like that to beat the Cho'Gaths, as opposed to when we were seeing like, oh man, it's Camille versus GP versus Gnar versus, you know, all the crazy counter picks you get. A lot more stability in the early game right now.
We'll have to see how these 2 teams fare. Again, OpTic just looking to spoil CLG's dream. CLG just trying to do their best, which means winning this game and then crossing your fingers as you watch the rest of the evening unfold.
Oh yeah, we got our sheets in front of us here, these papers with about 1 million tiebreaker scenarios, and a lot of them, especially for the 4th place spot, hinge on this match. The CLG need to win to keep their dreams alive, and then they'll be eagerly waiting to see if Echo Fox loses.
Full disclosure, I'm going to leave all of that up to you, so if you make a mistake, as fair warning, it is your fault.
I've done the reading. Also, we have producers to correct me when I'm wrong, and I just hope I don't make them correct me very much.
Well, teams are going to move out onto Summoner's Rift. We'll see what's happening here. Nothing fancy right now at level 1. I guess that's one of the traits that CLG Academy did not necessarily inherit from their main team. Fancy level 1 invades.
They're hiding all of them for the main roster. They don't want to show anything this...
Oh, that makes sense. They're the ones on the receiving end of all the level 1
yeah,
strat.
And then if they show them, then everyone's going to be ready for LCS when CLG making their late game playoff push against TSM. The final match of the, you know, regular season for them.
The levels get deeper.
Can't leak anything.
Well, it looks like Kitty's just going to trot on over to this right-hand side. Actually looking maybe down towards this brush. I think, again, just kind of pathing around, not trying to get into any potential vision.
I think they might go for an invade. Olaf has a notoriously brutal level 1 with his chain Axlow, as well as the hook by Winter. Means they might find someone here if Phil's not careful.
He's going to check, does check with the ward, but Winter maybe ready with a hook. Depends if he's leveled it or not. And here is the invade you expected.
Yeah, a little weird not to at least go on to him there. It's late enough into the game, or, you know, that sounds wrong, but it's late enough into the level 1 game that if you chunk him out very aggressively there or get a summoner, you can potentially win bot lane advantage for the entire early game. So I'm surprised to see them not try a little harder to chunk out Phil there. Instead, they're just giving Kadir the bot side of the jungle. But Omar God's coming over to contest despite Kadir having red buff already.
It's kind of a bad time for Omar because he already lost the big raptor, but he will get the rest of them as Tuesday roamed over to force him out of the way. Omar actually did something pretty creative there, just took the wolf camp and ran straight over to the other side, expecting those raptors.
He was able to force him off the raptors to grab a couple for himself. And Kadir has to run back to his side of the map, but Olaf is such a fast jungler, I can't imagine that this really impacts his early game too much.
Yeah, I have to see what Omar does after his buff. Looks like he's on the blue right now, and it is being warded up by Palafox by the looks of things. But Kadir under his blue, going to start this wolf camp, and I think the question now for Omar is, you know, am I going to get 3 buffed after that invade?
It doesn't look like it. He's got the double Gromp and blue buff setup as Tuesday gets a big chunk in the mid lane. Palafox going for the Electrocute. The Electrocute, yeah, a little bit more aggressive than we're used to seeing in the mid lane. You see that the trades back also hurt him more, so it's just a lot more dangerous of a lane to play out than the Unsealed Spellbook or sometimes Aftershock Gallios that we see.
Yeah, conversely for Tuesday, it is kind of the expected rune there for a marksman. Does have fleet footwork, so should be happy as the lane goes longer and longer, but Palafox certainly with a smart early trade as Omar is going to take down this Scuttle. Kadir is on his red buff, but it's basically a full clear for the Olaf. It's like you said, he's just flying through the jungle.
And the fleet footwork is another thing to point out in the 8.4 changes. I believe it's half healing now for ranged champions, so small nerf for some of them, but if you are not a lethal tempo user or a press the attack user, which Corki really isn't, it's hard to find another keystone that's better. And it feels like in the bot lane, potentially it is still fleet footwork that is the meta, as you see once again Auto taking it as well.
Yep. Whether it's that he's used to it or just kind of lacks the extra utility, hard to say exactly, but we'll check in here with the bot side. Looks nice and even on CS. There's a good taunt from Pykick. Lord's going to get Fallen Bandit, take out some of these creeps. Pykick Lord's still trying to fight, but the Rupture did actually turn that trade around.
I mean, a little surprising to see Fallen Bandit in the lead in this lane. It is a Shen-favored matchup, a lot of people consider. He's the counter pick into the Cho'Gath. You get pushed in a little bit, but if you ever get a taunt pull through and just win the trades, which you should, Cho'Gath ends up having a hard time walking up to the wave. Sustain doesn't matter as much, but here, a good early start by Fallen Bandit.
Yeah, nice and even, so we'll continue to monitor that lane as things continue on. Kadir here. Right side Scotto Crab, looks like Infernal is the first direct spawning as we breeze by the icon. Kadir just getting a bit of vision control. Oh my god, gonna try and spot him out. Nice axe from Kadir, we'll see him. But looks like the Scry's Bloom popped on the other side, so all that back to his side.
And the Infernal Dragon is gonna be pretty big this game. When you have Olaf and Galio, you can expect some early action.
Ooh, flash taunt instantly there, trying to snap it off. Tuesday almost got himself pop. Flash actual Kadir is the attempt, but it's not going to go well. In fact, might go down, but just going to tank enough turret shots. Ooh. I like it. Flash axe you don't see very often.
I mean, it's aggro, and it'd be nice to get that first blood, but I think you can maybe just take the flash there and hold that for a bot lane gank. I mean, I was about to get into how Infernal Dragon's going to influence this early game. You have Olaf Galio, who are going to look to go bot lane. You are doing pretty good down there already with the Thresh into Alistar matchup, so you just want to set up a dive down there, but without the flashes available on your mid and jungler, it might stem some of the aggression that you would want to see early on.
You can certainly see the advantage in Palafox's Electrocute there, though. Almost able to take down Tuesday. He was burnt for that flash we saw, and now he's teleport to get back to the lane with a Sheen completed. Catalyst, though, finished for Palafox, so he's on the way to likely, I guess, Rod of Ages has been the standard one for Galio. Maybe a little too slow to stack tier for him.
Yeah, Galio doesn't quite have the spam ability.
Abyssal Mask also go with the other option.
Yep, that's what I was going to say. Galio just has so many build paths that you can go. The Abyssal Mask if you want. There is a ton of magic damage on CLG Academy's comp. Cho'Gath, Zac, Corki, Varus, even as an AD carry, is one of the higher magic damage ones. So I really do think Abyssal Mask would be pretty good. Also combos well with your team. You know, just getting more damage out if Ezreal's ultimate hits, and it looks like they're just going to try and start this one off, as there's been a lot of recalls by CLG.
Yeah, Kadir's aggression has not been deterred after that flash in the mid lane, so very early start on this Infernal, but to be pretty safe. Again, Olaf is just so good at clearing through even the bigger monsters on the rift. And as you mentioned, Mark, with his recall timing, pretty well scouted out by OpTic. This will be a very safe dragon. First Infernal goes over to OpTic nice and early.
Nice play by them, taking advantage of CLG, also having good vision control in the river. You remember earlier in that skirmish where Kadir was throwing axes at Omar God over the wall. Pays off a little bit there. They had the vision in the river, knew the enemy team didn't. Easy take. Next Dragon's Notion. And less exciting a little bit, but still pretty good.
It's just fine, most certainly, especially given how early it should come up here. Palafox continuing to push these waves in and just try and threaten Tuesday, who I think is playing respectfully without his flash, given how willing Kadir was to come into that mid lane and try and kill him. Palafox, though, if he's pushing the lane, he's now level 7, so we'll see if he looks for a roam. As oh my god, we'll get him off that control ward briefly, but not for the rest of it. No, actually it is for the rest of it as he Justice punches out.
There is a lot of playmaking on OpTic side. You can always have Shen joining in now that he is 6 as well. Fallen Bandit can interrupt relatively easily with the Scream or the Knockup, but you got to make sure you're constantly communicating if you're in range to interrupt, so that way your team can make good decisions. Shen can join, Shen can't join. Those kinds of calls are going to be critical in making sure they don't take a bad jungle fight. And also need to know if the bot dives are coming, because like we said, these are going to come in at any moment. Unfortunately for Piecake Lord, let's hold on.
Oh, what a great interrupt there from Omar God. Now going to try and get Palafox down after shock proc. Here comes the Shen, and now Kadir with the ultimate in the mid lane. He's going to look for a Palafox. He's getting low to Omar God's red buff. He actually uses the ulti, but Kadir's still unstoppable through the Ragnarok. I think he was trying to clip Palafox there.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised to see that's what Omar God went for. I thought he was just going to run forward and stick on top of them. They had canceled out the Shen ult, which is one of those things that we were talking about, making sure you communicate, so they should have known that they had the advantage in that skirmish. There was no other tank about to join in there. And with that, Omar God could have kept running forward and try and stay on top of Kadir, as opposed to just ult the unstoppable Olaf.
Yeah, Phil roamed up as well, so was even available for some potential action under the turret instead. First blood is still available to either of these teams, but Omar is going to repay that early red buff take in time and steal this one away. Fallen Bandit roams over just to make sure everything's a-okay. Wards up the Krugs, Omar takes the blast cone back home.
This is dangerous though.
No ultimate here for Olaf, but kind of a precarious situation for the bot lane. Hook lands in, they're going to try and find Auto. But here comes Galio again looking for that knockup. Isn't quite going to find it, but first blood over to Winter thanks to some damage in the Ignite. Phil will get away for now, but 1v4 defending this turret.
Ooh, and I was just about to say they did a good job of stemming some of the aggression from OpTic by taking that Shen ult and forcing it mid lane to no effect. And then they go for the red buff invade, which is mirrored on the other side. OpTic showing that they know that that's happening. They're fine to sack a red buff to get a bot play. And they get the one kill. They have some control in this bot lane. They're going to try and push this in, but I don't know if they'll actually be able to get the turret off of it. As you see, despite lacking, like you said, that Olaf ultimate, it was still all too easy. A good start by Winter to force Auto to flash into the Olaf. If they didn't land that hook, that could have been a lot harder to actually kick that off because their minion wave was dying. They were under some pressure, but hey, he lands it and gets that first kill.
Yep, and Galio ult might look funny at 100 feet away or so, but
it was a zoning ultimate.
It actually was. That's what I was going to say. A legitimately good zoning Galio ult.
Yeah, it was much more about the damage reduction on the Olaf tree to get focused down, as well as, like you said, cutting off a large portion of the escape.
Yeah, Auto does eat it there, and it goes down. First kill over to Winter. Not ideal, but certainly they got the gold they wanted. Omar back in mid lane here, but Palafox is not really interested in playing to the unsafe side. Instead, plays over to his team as Winter is getting some vision and takes down that ward using his control ward. Although here comes him again. Omar looking for it. Reduction's coming up. Palafox just needs to live for a little longer. First axe misses, hook will miss as well, but ulti actually falls in from Omar for the gap close. Kadir gonna take the lantern out to safety after popping the pucks from Thresh.
That was an interesting skirmish right there.
It's 2 for 2 interesting Zac ults. We usually don't see those function.
Omar God is like, this doesn't bounce me around anymore. I thought this was let's bounce. What is this? What's this ultimate here?
A little different. Can't quite scoop anyone up, but again, play kind of called off, and still only that one kill picked up for OpTic, who do have a slight gold lead of a few hundred. So CLG is still pretty happy with their position. I guess the question is really, can they get through the next round of globals? Because PyCakeLord's ult should be back up soon. Power Foxes will be back up also relatively shortly. And OpTic kind of have all the tools to just get aggressive here.
And surviving that next round of globals is probably the most important thing CLG is going to do this game, because they have a double 80 carry backline, or marksman backline, excuse me, with a fat front line. So they have a great team fighting team comp against OpTic, who are really low range. So
that's an excellent ultimate there. Can try and block the Lantern, does do so. Hook tanked by Phil.
That's another way to
yep, just gank the bot lane.
Avoid the aggression, just kill him first. So great play out of CLG there. They get the gold lead in their favor. We were just talking about how they're going to outscale this game. So if you can head into the 20-minute mark even, all things will be looking good for you.
Feels like Omar tried a few too many times in mid lane. It was bot lane all along. That was the lane to gank. Nice ult from Auto sets that all up.
It was a good mix-up. You attack the mid lane a couple times in a row, you attack the global, the well-understood strategy, and then you go for the quote-unquote suboptimal mix-up where you attack the bot lane where all the globals can go, but they're not ready for it, so you get that kill before they can react.
Hit him with the low, right in the legs.
Yep.
Out from under poor Ezreal. Palafox still shoving things in. His Rod of Ages has been completed, so no Abyssal Mask just yet, at least. Obviously still on the table for him in future, but getting that charged up nice and quickly as Tuesday works on his Trinity Force. But another red buff side invade here for OpTic, and once again, Auto will have to know what's happening. Feels like trying to check, trying to see if you can see anyone around the corner. That ward doesn't see them, but now he does. He's like, uh-oh, gotta get out of here. Headbutts the thresh away. That's actually a smart option, but Auto doesn't really have anywhere good to run. He's got to clear the way, but he can't do it quick enough. Goodbye! Kadir able to take him down under the turret. TP in is cancelled by Fallen Bandit.
CLG's kind of already reacting this in the mid lane, though. They have the Zac and Corki pushing the wave. It's going to be a race for first turret. Should be taken by OpTic, especially with the Ezreal going to clear out some of these minions. But they will probably be able to answer that back.
Yep. First gold going over to OpTic for that turret, but I think always have to consider mid lane is of slightly more value geographically. They're able to complete that tower take. Still not quite through it just yet, but shouldn't need too much more. There it is as Omar shares some gold with his mid laner and support. And we've kind of split the map at this point. I mean, some trades in bot lane, I suppose. Omar finally went there and got a kill, but seeding the Drake as well after that bot lane play. OpTic will get the second one in a row, taking down that Ocean. PyCakeLord in a bit of trouble, but taunts through Omar. Gonna try and avoid the dive from Phil, but Pulverize combo coming out after that headbutt. Again, Omar misses. Now Palafox is in, gets the taunt in onto Phil. And just some damage back as Fallen Bandit was behind CLG.
Oh boy, we're getting into the map trade play. It feels like OpTic overstayed going for that dragon, and they could have got punished harder on the top side, but they're able to survive that dive. That turret also does not get taken. OpTic punishes that mistake by CLG then by getting a lot of damage down on that mid lane turret. And eventually they're going to put their bot lane up to the top side, most likely on OpTic, to force some more dives and hopefully grab themselves a Rift Herald. So CLG, despite being even in gold, are going to be on the back foot a little bit here. All off this bot play where they finally break the first turret of the game. You can tell that CLG knows it's coming. Phil is kind of looking for it. He's like, all right, they're not coming over like from a blast cone or anything. Oh, there they all are. I'll try and stop them from getting an auto. Okay, auto's going to die now. Maybe I'll come back and try and stop this, but you see how fast he just gets obliterated. That TP needs to start channeling instantly. But even then, you might just be baiting yourself into a worse fight. So I actually think it's the right decision to kind of just sack auto there, lose the turret. They have a ton of globals. Their whole comp is built around doing this. They're going to get it off a couple times. Trading, I like that decision a lot more about going mid lane.
Have to agree, and Auto not doing too badly for himself. Already has the Raid Blade finish. Is 10 CS behind, but he'll take it given how much attention OpTic have shown there. Tuesday also finishing that first major item with the Trinity Force, and like you said, lots of trading and map movement happening right now. There is a weakened tower in top lane for CLG to attack, but the same is true in mid as OpTic almost took down the mid outer in that last passage of play.
And this is a cool lane setup that we're seeing here. CLG knows that OpTic wants to put their bot lane up to the top side. OpTic starts doing that, but then they actually put the Corki to match. So you have an Ezreal versus Corki 1v1, and CLG's bot lane getting priority in the mid lane to make it harder to attack what they were hoping to be would just be the bot lanes up in the top side of the map. So this is actually giving them control of the top river, this lane setup, and now they're the ones actually going for the Rift Herald, but it does look like OpTic want to react to it.
Yep, a ward in the pit still, even though CLG did clear out the control ward. But it looks like CLG are committed to trying to take this. 2 from OpTic in the area right now. Palafox not quite ready with the ultimate, but it's soon. And Phil is trying to look for a pickoff here. But CLG do want to finish this objective. As Phil finds one, headbutts him back into the Varus. Beautifully played by CLG. Even a teleport for Fundies as Bandit cancels again.
Ooh, that was very close by Andy.
It was, but oh my god, able to secure that. OpTic trying to take down this turret, but here comes Phil again. Gonna zone them off, blocks Palafox, but the taunt lands in. Now uses the ulti, looking for the pulverize, but maybe not gonna grab it. A little too far forward, perhaps here for CLG. Shen ult in, here's Galio to join Phil. Forced to push out as FLICKR Lord does take down Auto. Phil now gonna go down to Kadir as Omar is so low. Although now again the roam back in, Fallen Bandit gonna try and get a feast down onto Palafox, who flashes Fallen Bandit. He's gonna look for a FLICKR Lord, now gonna face check the Cho'Gath. Goodbye Shen as Omar looking to chase one down but doesn't land the stretching strike. Andy though still chasing, almost takes down Tuesday. And now Palafox back at it again, finds the snap taunt into Fallen Bandit. But a silence into the rupture for a double knock-up. And I think no, we're not finally done. Winter, oh no, we hooked a minion. Now he's taking up the turret. Tuesday might get a freebie, but he can't quite get it. And chaos ensues under the mid-outer.
What was that, Pastry? A 2 for 2?
I think so. I wasn't counting by the end of it. It lasted a little too long.
Yeah, that went on for quite a while. It started with Winter dying.
We're not done, by the way. Yeah, still going. Omar looks for it, but the turret goes down. The taunt into Fallen Bandit. No, he's not dead. He lives. The passive, I think, proccing just enough time as Auto gets the double kill. Make it a third as he nabs the triple.
I think that might actually be a quadra kill. It said triple, but I think he killed all 4. He's up to 4, 3, and 2 now. I'm not quite sure. Either way, that's 4 kills in the mid lane by CLG as OpTic get greedy trying to finish that turret off. A really ballsy re-engage there to turn that scrappy situation solidly in their favor, making use of that Rift Herald that they got to start that entire sequence. And putting themselves in a 2,000 goalie with Infernal Dragon coming up in a minute and a half.
Yep, gonna grow as well by the looks of things as Tuesday is able to finish off the top lane outer turret and keep racing ahead in farm. I mean, it seemed like, you know, teams were playing kind of a more patient game, and then it descended into chaos and CLG were like, okay, we can hang here.
Well, Omar got it healed up a little bit off doing a camp. You see them all very low and getting a little bit aggressive. Cho'Gath actually does pretty good AoE damage if he's able to get a couple things off. He starts healing up from the kills that are coming in, the extra CC that comes in from the Alistar, and then Auto over the top, able to grab a couple of those kills. He's going to only grab 3, stand corrected. But huge for Auto to grab those kills and become a little bit stronger in this game now. Finish his Ginsu's very close to finishing his Slay the Rune King as well now.
Yeah, I mean, you saw how much attention OpTic were paying in the bot side earlier. Auto, you know, didn't have too bad of a lane, but was certainly getting a lot of attention. 4 kills will kind of get you right back into a game where you may have been a bit behind. So CLG now up ahead, about 2,500 gold. And as you mentioned, Mark, Infernal Drake up soon, 20 seconds away as both teams looking to grab this one. OpTic would love a second to make it 3 Drakes total, and CLG is going to try and even that score up.
At this point, OpTic has not quite been outscaled. You don't see the 2-item breakpoints coming in for CLG, so this is one of their last stands to get control back in this game, win this fight, get this Infernal Dragon. You can still win from that point, but they need to find a clean engage onto Auto or Tuesday, because otherwise they're going to get out DPS'd.
And CLG have certainly been willing to get aggressive and pull the trigger on a lot of these fights. Kadir is starting up this Drake, but quickly realizes that's not the best idea right now. Palafox ready in reserve, ultimate is up, but oh my god, it's just going to start tanking up this Drake.
No summoners on the carries for CLG, so if they can find an angle onto him with the Olaf Galio, they can probably win this fight.
Pretty slow again. Omar just kind of maybe baiting them in here. Not too much damage being done, but CLG moving forward. Going to try and keep the Olaf out, but kind of tough to do. Going to run in with the Ragnarok and just start the fight. Here comes Palafox, his Fallen Bandit. Does take down the Thresh. Auto download to Kadir as he rushes into the backline, but Tuesday, he takes down the Olaf. He's still alive as Omar goes. He's going to now use that ultimate, but get his passive proc. Still, it does not matter. Fallen Bandit on a rampage in that team fight as Omar comes back together after being put into pieces. Tuesday over the top, looks for Andy and is going to find it. And CLG, they take the fight and they'll take the Drake as well.
And at 20 minutes now, with 4 members still alive to the 1 on the side of OpTic, they can actually just head right up to the top side. Gonna grab Baron for themselves potentially as well after winning another team fight. It was very touch and go for a second there, as a lot of CLG's front line was focusing down the Thresh, and it was on auto to kite that one out. He was able to do it successfully. Now there's a teleport coming in to test this.
Yeah, gets cancelled very smartly. It was not a wise move, certainly. Would have been almost certain death there, but OpTic again, they're going to try and deter them.
Take two.
Tuesday goes back in, he finds the blast gun after the VAP. There's the knock-up in onto Piecake Lord. Silence landing in. Fallen Bandit doesn't have his feast for a while, and Phil is low. Did have it back up, but decided not to take the risk. CLG will back away there.
I do like the decision to back away there. You have control of this game. You're in a winning position. Do not let it come down to a 50-50 smite, or worse, getting aced at the Baron. So I really like this decision to back off. Now they just have to be worried about the potential counterplay, but assuming that doesn't happen, take a look at this fight at Dragon. Watch how hard the front line focuses down the Thresh once that lands. You see Omar God and Fallen Bandit both go and insta-give him, and then no one's quite helping enough for Auto, so he's going to get taken down, but this is why having two backline threats is so important. Tuesday is able to stay alive and deal a ton of damage to Piecake Lord, who's then exposed, as well as the fact that their front line is just stronger, so even though you pop the Zac, Fallen Bandit's still running through there, and Tuesday, like we said, still alive, untouched that whole fight, able to go over the wall and finish off Andy. So you get to see why that team comp of CLG is so strong. Having both members on the backline that they need to kill, OpTic only gets one. It's still a difficult fight for them to win.
And you said 2-item breakpoints earlier. Well, CLG have now hit those in their stride as they look to once again make an attempt onto this Baron Static Shiv and play the Ruin King, both there for Corki and Varus respectively. And Omar just going to look for an initiation. Chilling Smite's in onto Winter, who's just got, he does have a flash, but I don't think it matters. He's going to flash, but it is only to his death as Omar God claims credit for that kill.
Yeah, one of those flashes that you look at and say, maybe you could have held on to that one. Doesn't get much out of it. He's dead. CLG are going to go to this Baron now. They still have a lot of engage tools left available to them. They they used the Varus ultimate, but you still have Alistar and Zac to go over and zone away this Olaf. Doesn't have flash up.
Yeah, Kadir might just look for a hero play. Flashed in pretty early. He's going to go for it, but the Feast is going to get it, give it over to CLG. Now the Olaf's dead. Palafox comes in, but he's far too late. And he also caught. He's going to get shredded down by Tuesday. And CLG, they just keep winning moment after moment.
Yeah, this game is going to end pretty soon here, most likely. They don't have great wave clear on the side of OpTic. You basically only have Palafox to shoot that out. He's zoned away from the mid lane, so they're going to run up here, get at least one inhibitor after that Baron fight.
Checking the waves right now. Still have a lot of work to do for the side lanes, but it may not matter as CLG will do the easy stuff to start things off. Mid inhibitor turret falls. Mid inhibitor falls shortly after it.
No need to back. Fallen Bandit's already got a wave going up in the top side as well. They can play this as aggressively as they want. You know, they have to be worried about getting engaged on, because that's what OpTic's comp wants to do, but as long as you play this relatively safely, you should be able to continue pushing up here. It does look like they're going to back off and spend all that gold they just spent.
Yep, just take that turret, maybe a banner in the works, depending on where we're up to in gold, but we'll watch this play again.
And Kadir has his flash, so he knows he doesn't need to ult early to get through the Alistar, which is something you see Olaf sometimes do. Flashes just a little bit too soon, tries to combo it, gets it down to 660, but it's so hard to do it against Cho'Gath, who just starts feasting once he sees the Kadir blow his smite. Would have had a really hard time stealing that anyways, but did need to go for it. There's no way they're winning this game based off how it's going with team fighting, so you need to find some play in the objectives. Unfortunately, very hard to do versus Cho'Gath.
Yep, tough stuff, and as a result, 2 minutes still for CLG to use this Baron after already taking 2 turrets and an inhibitor off the map. Looks like bot lane is the next place to go for CLG. It's got the most gold in it because there's still an outer turret left to take.
There's a lot of gold to grab there, and they're already 7K up. I like the decision to put the Corki up in the top lane. He has TP to join in on one of these fights. He's pretty autonomous, so let him go up there and take some turrets himself, potentially. And then Cho'Gath is a great frontliner, so now he can stand, hopefully, in front of that Varus, who's going to be pushing down the bot side.
Yeah, especially for Piecake Lord, who's currently answering that 1v1. Spirit Visage is nice to kind of help out against the damage from Corki, but a Titanic Hydra is not going to mean much to a Corki that it now actually has his Infinity Edge completed. Did not have it. Looks like he just took a recall. So we talked about the marksman being strong. Tuesday is exceptionally so at this stage of the game, and CLG still have a minute with this Baron as they take down yet another turret here in bot lane.
Well, they got some time. Corki's going to have to try and get back on the map. Maybe he'll use his TP on one of these minions to keep... Why cast it then?
He's just really keen to shoot some turrets. Here comes Tuesday. CLG say, you know what?
It doesn't matter.
A small mistake, but it might not matter. Exactly. All right, well, CLG going to look to take down inhib number 2. Still 45 seconds left on this Baron. Might just go all the way around and look for that third and final inhib. And if OpTic make a mistake, the game ends in their base.
Yeah, it's a safe and steady route. Just get all 3 inhibitors. The enemy team is, like we said, relatively low range and needs to engage on you to make anything happen. And then if you win that fight, the game's over. So I like the way CLG is playing this. Should be able to close this game out. We'll lose the Baron buff, but hopefully the super creeps will provide enough pressure from the minions to actually end the game.
10,000 gold lead helping out as well. So
yeah,
CLG in a very good position. And again, inheriting traits of their main team, just keeping things nice and steady. Back in the day, this was the tutorial win.
Uh-oh.
Good hook lands in, but not quite enough. Great silence from Fallen Bandit, zones out the rest. Phil trying to keep Palafox out of the way, and ultiless for that fight as the turret falls down. Winter dies in the fray, and Omar goes just trying to knock one up. He goes back in, he tries to last bounce, but again, Omar not quite so lucky, but still doesn't matter. Kadir goes down to the Zac. Again, another double slap there as Palafox crashes into his teammate, and Tuesday on stop. Looking for Andy, needs one more crit, doesn't get it, gets shut down by Palafox. It's a tragedy for the CLG Academy mid laner, but a win's a win here as OpTic cannot defend the onslaught. CLG will take a decisive and quick win here to kick off the final day of the Academy Spring Split. CLG have done their job, Mark.
Exactly, they've done what they needed to do. Now they will eagerly wait the outcome of the Fox FlyQuest match at the end of the day to wait to see if they have to play any tiebreakers. It's been a very good game for them here in the first match of the day. Tuesday in particular coming up huge on that Cork pick, has completely turned his season around from being one of the weak points arguably on the CLG roster at the start.
I think in general, just even the fact that, you know, CLG kind of took the pressure that was given to them actually quite well. Phil, you saw him trying to scout out and look for those bottom lane players. You even said that there's not really much that you can do there on the side of CLG, so it's kind of lost the minimum. There was a bit of chaos kind of in the mid-game there around that map play, but CLG able to stay calm and steadily kind of move through that game. And from there, they're just like, all right, it's even, time to win.
Yeah, you talk about that craziness, especially in the mid lane. Some skirmishing happened where there's some overstaying by OpTic. They were doing a good job in the game. They were in the lead for a large part of it, but then they had some skirmishes that did not quite work out.
Yeah, then this happened. Let's take a look at a replay here. CLG to say, oh, yeah, this is a pretty decent spot for us. Let's win a team fight.
Yeah, there you see everyone low health, but CLG are the ones pulling the trigger, so they get the engage off. They're able to CC multiple members as Otto rejoins that fight, quickly finds himself 3 kills, and now, hey, you have a fed backline member and a big front line to get through.
And I think super impressive just how well CLG closed this game more than anything else. We'll have a look now at how CLG just took full control of this one. Again, very solid dragon fight. Kind of once they knew they had the advantage, able to step up and play these team fights really well together.
Yeah, you see both teams understand what they want to do. Palafox is going to combo right onto Otto. They blow him up, but Tuesday has been untouched this entire time. CLG's front line had taken care of Thresh, so there's no way for the people who were diving in to get out with the Lantern, which is something that you sometimes see with these kind of comps. And then after this, it's all over. They've already lost the fight. Andy's trying to do what he can, but Tuesday's able to go over the wall and finish him off. 4 for 1. They get that Infernal Dragon. They tried to go for a Baron. Couldn't quite get it there.
And then managed to pick it up on the other side. So really solid stuff there from CLG Academy. I think for me, the most impressive thing is just how quickly that game got out of hand. And then once it was kind of in control for CLG, how quickly they overtook things and closed out the game. To hear more about that victory, though, I'd like to welcome Otto to the broadcast via Skype. Otto, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing pretty well. It's a pretty nice victory.
Yeah, you guys have a long time to wait until, you know, playing the tiebreaker match. What are you guys going to do to pass some of the time?
Probably just going to watch the rest of the Academy games, you know, plan if it does come down to a tiebreaker, like what drafts we want to do. So, you know, we just got to like sit and wait till nerve-wracking, but, you know, all we can do is hope for FlyQuest to win.
I think regardless of kind of what happened, though, still impressive that you guys have managed to rattle off so many victories in a row. What do you attribute that to for either yourself or your team? Like, how is it possible to rally so hard in a season, just win 6 straight games, to even get to this point, to maybe be in the playoffs?
So, patch, I believe it was 8.4 was like the turnaround for our team, and same with like, I think the main team as well for CLG. I mean, we had like a joke running around, like Omar's sometimes built like red smite on Warwick and blue smite. So like the meta just kind of went into his hand, and then we just kind of meshed together as well as a team. We had like we were nervous like the first half of the split, and we were dropping games where we probably shouldn't have. but in the second half, like we were playing with like nothing to lose at that point, and we just started racking up wins.
And so some of those similarities between the main roster and the academy roster, how closely are you guys working together? Is this something where, you talk about how great it was for Omar God and you guys losing some pressure. Was it a similar situation for the main roster where you guys were like, hey, this is working for us? Are you guys doing the same thing?
We would just talk with the players, like, oh, what do you guys think of this pick into this? And then it'd just be a lot of like discussions with the players, and that's really as much as it went. And I just feel like patch 8.4 for both teams just kind of gave us a fresh start, and it kind of turned things around for us.
Well, it certainly looked good so far. Best of luck in playoffs if you make it. I'm sure you'll be crossing your fingers, but thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, with that, the Academy League is going on break, but stay tuned. When we come back, it is Game 2 with Team Liquid Academy battling Cloud9. That's an excellent ultimate there. Going to try and block the Lantern. Does do so. Hook tanked by Phil. Auto doesn't really have anywhere good to run. He's got to clear the way, but he can't do it quick enough. Goodbye. Not done, by the way. Yeah, still going. Omar looks for it, but the turret goes down. The taunt into Fallen Bandit. No, he's not dead. He lives. The passive, I think, proccing just enough time as Auto gets the double kill. Make it a third. Might just look for a hero play. Flash in pretty early. He's going to go for it, but the Feast is going to get it. Give it over to CLG. Now the Olaf's dead. Palafox comes in, but he's far too late. And he also caught. He's going to get shredded down by Tuesday. OpTic cannot defend the onslaught. CLG will take a decisive and quick win here to kick off the final day of the Academy Spring Split.